Cool.
Again.
Okay, woo-hoo!
Woo-hoo!
Oh, here's the after hours. I had to stop and ask Jacqui if she still wanted to hop on because I didn't know if she had to go. It's hard.
Nope,
Well, I
I'm
will
still
tell you
here.
this. Anybody who's tried to schedule 4 busy people with full-on lives and
Yes.
full-on like things of trying to schedule 1 day a week is the hardest thing ever, guys. It
It is.
is
It
not
is.
easy.
It
It's
is
not
not easy.
easy being cheesy.
No, it's not. Yeah, we might make it look easy, but it is not easy.
There's a lot that goes. There's a lot.
Life happens.
It is. There's a lot that goes on for all of us, and it is not easy with stuff that um that happens, and then it's kind of like, as you can see tonight, we only had 2 of us.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other 2, if they're back next week, they can explain why, but
Yeah.
it's not easy. I but I
Mm.
have
I've
said
got purple Urkel today, by the way.
purple purple.
Purple Urkel.
Hmm. Is it any good?
It's very good. Yes.
Disposable.
Purple Urkel.
Oh, yeah. See, it's not legal in Texas.
Oh, it's legal in Missouri. Now,
See?
I've got my medical card, but it is legal as recreation as well. But just another reason to move to Missouri. I'm just going
Yeah.
to throw that shameless plug in there. I
Oh,
mean,
that's it.
besides the Chiefs and Taylor Swift, we also have legal marijuana.
Okay. Well, I'm not a Chiefs fan.
Are you a marijuana fan? No, Jesus.
So, uh, uh, if it was ever legal in Texas, I would say that it may be something that I would think about.
Isn't everything legal in Texas?
Everything except for marijuana. It's legal, so we have the open
Just keep
carry. We
going
have
south and
yeah.
you'll hit the
You
legal
go south,
point.
yeah. Well, you go further south than anything. Everything else is legal too. So no, in Texas we just do it bigger and better. So if they ever opened it up, our pot farms would be bigger than y'all's pot farms.
Y'all schools would be amazing. I'm just saying our money goes
Yeah.
to schools. So
Oh
there
my
we go.
goodness.
All right.
Yeah. So it's kind of that's so funny.
Here's my
But no,
shameless plug.
well, we've talked about moving. We really have talked about moving to different
Yeah.
places. Because with one of our daughters out in Arizona.
Mhm.
Now, my family's still here.
Yeah.
Blake's immediate family, his sisters are here in Texas, but they have their own lives.
Yeah.
So it's not something that he's fine. He's like, I'll pack up today, let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm a little hesitant. I got transplanted to Texas in '84. I've been here I've been here, oh my gosh. August 26th
Oh my
of
gosh.
'84 is when I moved to Texas, and we took our first flight. It was my first flight ever, and we flew into DFW, and we stayed at a place. It was like one of those like suites,
Yeah.
like the full furnished apartment slash like hotel.
Yeah.
We stayed there until we found the house that I lived in for
Oh.
gosh, like 16 years.
Oh my
So
gosh.
my entire life's been here. And
Yeah.
so the one place I'd love to move back to is Oklahoma, because that's where I came
Mm.
from. Which it's legal there too. And
Oh, yeah, it is.
it is. Disclaimer, I am in Texas. She
I'm
is
in
in
Missouri.
Missouri. So this is totally legal for her. So don't nobody come after us. Um, but yeah, we've talked about it. And with my business, most of my stuff is online. If I
Mhm.
mean, there may be a handful of local customers that I would either connect them with another consultant if they needed to do whatever, but
Mhm.
I don't like my business wouldn't suffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I honestly wouldn't know what to do about starting over in a whole new state. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I've started over in cities. I mean, my kids and I moved around a lot in life.
Yeah.
I've I've restarted in cities, I've restarted in counties, but I've never had to restart in a different state. So,
In a whole new state. Yeah. That's a
and
big change.
plus, our youngest is at college, so I kind of want to wait. Like I keep
Yeah.
waiting for her to be like when she finishes college.
Yeah.
I think if we plan for 4 years, then that would be the time because she wouldn't need me 24/7. Like,
Yeah.
and not that she needs me now.
Right.
She is coming home tomorrow for dinner.
Aw,
So,
I love this.
yeah, but other than that, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. I've never thought, I mean, have you ever moved state? I mean, were you born in Missouri?
I was born in Kansas City. Yeah, so I'm
Oh,
born, raised, planted. I don't know. I mean, Justin's sister lives in I think it's north of Dallas because she's in Green. I can't remember what the name of the town is. Greenwood, Green. I don't know. It's Green something
yeah.
or
It's
Georgetown.
green.
Georgetown. It's Georgetown. Georgetown. I don't know. It's
Georgetown is south, I
maybe
think.
it's south of Dallas. I don't know. She used to
Anyways,
live in Midlothian years ago. But anyway, so she's always been around the Dallas area.
yeah.
And in fact, for
Well,
Christmas,
Dallas area, everybody
well,
thinks
it's
Texas.
huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I think the DFW area is probably about as big as Missouri.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So we've talked about actually for the holidays going down and getting an Airbnb down there in Dallas, and so we can at least see her because it's been a while since we've been able to see her and spend time with her. But like my kids and obviously now my grandkids are all here, so I
Harder.
don't I don't know if we'd ever leave. Plus the Chiefs are here and now Taylor Swift's here and so like all the things I love are here. If Post Malone comes here, like my year is made. I'm
You're
done.
like, I will
I'm
never
done.
leave.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
done.
and we have
So
another daughter that's in Arizona, and that's where our grandson's at. And so when my husband went out to Arizona to go, it
mhm,
was a surprise, not surprise visit. It was never planned. It was kind of last minute because I was going to SFR. So I was going
yeah.
down to Orlando, Florida
Oh,
with
that's
all my
right.
girls.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
he decided to fly to Arizona. So we literally went opposite directions, opposite time zones. Um, and they drove about 2 hours away. They're close to Phoenix, is where they live, and
Mhm.
they drove about 2 hours away. And the weather is completely different. It is not
Oh yeah.
it is like lush um trees and green and
Mm.
water, and it's not far. I mean, like, it's the big mountains, so it's
Uh-huh.
somewhere heading that way. It's like heading west. And it was beautiful. And Blake's like, I could so
Oh.
move here. And they're like, you should. And I'm like, I started looking it up and I'm like, it's too expensive to live there. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's cheap in Texas for considering. Like, Lisa and I've talked because Lisa lives in California, and the room and board of
Yeah.
living where they live on the size, when I told her how much it would cost in Texas,
Yeah.
kind of blew her out of the water because she's like, "What?
Yeah.
It's just more
Yeah.
expensive out there." But they also get paid
Yeah.
more. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's different when minimum wage is $25 and everything.
Well, and you guys have different like you guys don't have like personal property tax like here in
We
Missouri
don't
we've
have
got
state tax. We don't have
state
state
tax.
tax.
Yeah, like we don't have that or we have that in Missouri, right? So like I have to pay personal property tax on my vehicle every year and I got to pay like all that just to tag my car. Like it's yeah, we've got a whole lot of stuff.
See,
I
then that
mean,
just makes me not wanna move there either
I
because I
know
don't have to
every
worry.
state is different. Every
Yeah,
state is
every
different.
time I go through and do my taxes and stuff, it's always so funny because it asks for certain things. "What state are you in?" I'm like, "Texas." They're like, "Never mind, skip this
Yeah.
section because that's all the state tax stuff, and I don't have to worry about it."
Right.
It's I wouldn't even know how to file my taxes with state. I mean, I don't is it the same? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough for it.
Well, I would figure it out.
Yeah, we all figure it out somehow, some way. But
But even
uh,
so, honestly, just what do you think about tonight's topic?
I thought it was really good because I mean, I myself, I have been, and maybe it's just because we've got a lot. Justin's had some, we had to go pick up his car today. He had to get a whole new transmission. We've had a rental. Things have been just like back and forth. We haven't been on like an even keel where like everything's fine. Like, I mean, everything's fine, but you know what I mean? Like life gets in the way
Yeah.
um, and then I've been stressed about school and do I truly finish because it's expensive. I mean, let's be honest. It's expensive to go to nursing school, especially to go to college to do it's a lot. It's a lot. And
It's a
even
lot.
though, I can get grants, I can get student loans. I paid off my student loans 10 years ago. Am I really starting over at 46? I don't I have those are the questions like I'm facing right now personally. And so for the last probably about month, I have just been looking at everything. I've been looking at my job. I've been looking at my business. I've been looking at school. I've been looking at our family. What does it look like? Because it's growing too. My son's pregnant. My sister is pregnant.
Your
Like
son is pregnant? Oh my God.
my, my son's girlfriend is pregnant.
Okay.
Um, but so we've got all the things happening, and I'm like, oh my, this is so much. Like my brain is on overload. Where I've even questioned, like, am I doing my business enough justice? Which I feel that I still do all the things that I do, but I'm like, am what I is what I'm doing enough? Like I don't know. And then I get lost in that spiral. So it was a really good topic this week for me because I personally feel that I am in the thick of it. I'm in the thick of it. And it can be very hard to find your way out of that and to really focus on what you want and to even know what you want. Like know what do I focus on right now? I mean, that's just me personally,
I,
but I know
I
my
think you
team
need to focus on
members,
you.
yeah, and my
I
team members
mean,
are the same way. Like they'll come to me and they'll reach out and they'll be like, Jackie, I don't know what to do. I've asked everybody. Nobody wants anything right. Nobody does anything right now. What do I do? And I'm like, I wish I had a magical answer. I wish I did. If I did, I would bundle it up. I would sell it to you in a
yeah.
heartbeat. I don't have a magical answer because I'm not there either. So it can be very hard and struggling. And this was a good topic this week.
Well, and I think it's when it's hard to see to the other side. It's
Hmm.
hard to see. I mean, the end of this month could be absolutely amazing. It,
Yeah.
it could completely turn around because we've had many a months do that,
Hmm.
and it's hard because we all have our own business. And
Hmm.
I'll tell you this: with school, full time school, I'm not even working at the school this semester, and it's I can honestly tell you, I'm not doing all the things. I'm not doing everything because I honestly don't have time.
It's a
I
lot.
spend Yeah, I go to school all days on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Like I got home today about 3. I ate food. My husband, he's like, "Can we really eat at 4 o'clock?" I'm like, "Yes, because I'm starving. I didn't have lunch. So yes, we are eating." My husband leaves for work. He gets up at 3:15. So
Yeah.
he's home by 1:30. And then I got home from school and he was hungry. I was hungry. So we ate. I mean, we have no
Mhm.
one else to worry about in the house. So we eat when we want to eat. But I did wanna say that, as you're going through stuff, it's not always happening to you, it's happening for you. And I know that
Um,
sometimes, when you and I did have to Google this because I wanted to pull up because you said, "Is it too late?" Vera Wang
yeah.
started her business at 40. Julia Child, um it doesn't tell me the date. Okay, Ray Kroc founded McDonald's at 52 years old.
Wow.
Martha Stewart didn't even become a home and kitchen icon until 41.
Wow.
Yeah. Jane Lynch. Now, do you know who Jane Lynch is? I
Yes, I
love
do.
her. I absolutely love
Yes.
her.
From Glee and
She did
everything else.
not hit it big until she was 49.
Shut up.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
there's a lot of them. I think like Morgan Freeman didn't even get his first role until he was in his 50s.
Okay. If Justin was awake right now, he'd be so proud. Harrison Ford didn't get started in what Star Wars or whatever it was till he was like 30,
Yeah, he was
34,
a
30 something,
carpenter. He
35.
was a carpenter.
Yes.
Oh, yes. So
Yes.
Harrison Ford, yes, he was a carpenter. And he did not, let's see, at 35 is when he started his acting career. He
Yes.
decided, and he had some very small roles. And I don't, did he come Indiana Jones? No, he became
Oh,
Indiana Jones before he,
was it before Star Wars?
maybe
I want
Star
to
Wars.
say Star Wars was first and then Indiana Jones. I
It's
don't know.
close. I can't remember now. I'm
Yeah.
trying to look. I'm trying to like
I know,
scroll
right?
through some of this stuff. Um,
IMDb.
Like, let's see. There was some other ones, but there's a lot of uh where's this one? I'm trying to pull stuff up as we go through because it really is very interesting because they use it a lot of people will use it as motivational because your life is never over until it's over.
Yeah, yeah,
Really and truly.
true.
And you can change at any time. It's kind of like
Yeah,
picking a career of what you want to do like in
yeah.
your so when you're growing up, you're learning and you're taking all this education and you're going to school and then you either, you have a turning point at some point in high school that you either go to college, you
Hmm.
get out and you work, or, you know, like me, I had babies. So it was like,
Me
and then I
too.
had to catch up to work, and I'm now
Yep.
going back to school.
Yeah.
But it's not like I'm just doing school because this is the only thing I can do right now. It's the change. I mean, I'm going into a career that I've never fully been in. I've touched it. I've like put my tippy toes
Mhm.
in, and I've done some aspects of it, but I've never done this. And it's, you know, it, it is scary
It is
because,
scary.
you know, when I started, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grow up. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but, you know, I started off at 15, 16 years old working fast food.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to stay there.
Mhm.
Um, I then went to pharmacy,
Mhm.
because when I got pregnant in high school, I wanted something a little bit more. So I became a pharmacy tech at the local hospital where my mom worked. My mom was a, my mom's actually been an RN for, I better not say how many years, a long, long time before I was born. Um, and she still actually has her RN license. She keeps up with it,
Oh, that's
because
amazing.
uh, she does tech support.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Yeah.
not to be too,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah. Um, and you know, it's, what did I do? I did cell phones after that. So I worked at Hawk Electronics, which was partnered with AT&T. It was
Wow.
they did home, like they did, we did our own stuff, but we piggybacked on AT&T.
Yeah.
Worked for T-Mobile in the mall
Mhm.
until I got an opportunity to go to Disney World, and they told me that I was not going, and I said, "Who are you? I work part-time with you. I work like 10, like I work 2 3 shifts a week, if that." I was like, "I'm going to Disney World. Bye-bye." And I quit because I literally at that time, let's see, Amber would have been 4. So I was almost 30, and I had
Yeah.
some 18, 19-year-old tell me that I had to ask for a month advance on as a part-timer when
Wow.
they only put the schedule out week at a time. Like you didn't even know
Mhm.
what your schedule was until like the Wednesday before.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm like, how do I need to request a month in advance when you guys don't even come up with a schedule except for week by week? And even
Yeah.
then, half the time it changes because it's the mall. Then
Yeah.
I went into Verizon, and I worked at Verizon for a long time, as tech
Mhm.
support in the stores, but I was a contractor.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, mm-mm, I went into, I worked at a different company totally together. I mean, I worked at a boot company, here in Texas, and
Yeah.
that's where I was at for my longest ever, almost 8. Oh, it would have been
Oh
8
my
years if I had stayed.
gosh.
So,
Wow.
you know, but I'm doing something different, so it doesn't matter.
That's right.
KFC, uh, Colonel Harland Sanders created
Oh.
KFC at 65.
Shut up. 65?
Yep, 65.
Well, that tracks because I've never seen a different logo than the white
It's
beard.
yeah, it's always because that he was older. So it's amazing because
At
you,
least they never had to change their branding. Let's
oh,
look at
so
the bright
Morgan
side.
Freeman was in his 50s. He was in his 50s when he did his breakout roles for Street Smart and Driving Miss Daisy.
Driving Miss Daisy. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, you like if you think about it, so we raise like in our 20s, we're trying to figure out our identity. Like we're trying to figure
Mhm.
out who we are. In our
Yeah.
30s, we're trying to we're either having babies or we're married or we're doing all these things. I mean, I didn't get married till I was in my 40s. So, yeah, I was 39 when I got married because my
Mm.
40th my 40th anniversary, my 40th birthday was in June, and I got married in April.
You're
So,
so cute. I got married at 18. You're
yeah.
adorable.
No, my well, I'm spilling the tea everywhere. My parents begged me to wait till I was 21 to get married to baby daddy number 1.
No, I was told, honey, you were pregnant. You were getting married. That is the end of
Well,
story.
that was
And
a
here we go.
yeah, yeah, that was different. I think my
Yeah.
parents knew
Yeah.
that that was the best thing for me not to, because it's a little bit different. I honestly think that there's something different when you get married than if
Yeah.
you're just boyfriend and
Yeah.
girlfriend, and I think they were worried that I'm not one. I don't quit.
Yeah.
I don't give up on things until I'm basically I was out I had to get out the door. It was
Yeah.
for my mental and physical health, I needed to leave.
Yeah.
It was not a good situation. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. As we get older and we're in our 40s and 50s, we no longer have the little babies.
Right.
We have more time for ourselves to find ourselves. And so changing
Mhm.
careers in your 40s and 50s, it's scary because but I don't think anybody stays at companies that long anymore.
Well, and it's almost that's the mindset, right? Like, because yeah, I can sit here and be like, I'm 46. Should I really take another year of my life and finish my nursing?
Do you want
Which
to?
I mean, that's do I want to? Yeah. Do I need to? I have a good job. My husband has a good job.
Yeah,
Do I need to? No. Do I want to? Yeah. But at the same time, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
it is.
money
It
out of
is.
my pocket. It's a lot of time out of my days from my family and my work and the house and my business and all the other like and my grandkids because I've got another grandchild. I've got a niece on the way. Like I mean, there's a lot. And so I have been lately like, am I just in that age? But then again, like you said, like there's no time limit, right? Like I don't have a young child at home I have to worry about. My
You don't have
youngest
to get up in the
is
middle of the night to do
15.
feedings. You don't have feedings
No,
or
I just
changing
have to
diapers
let the
or
damn dog out, but that's a whole nother potty training
I think you
issue.
should get a doggy door and just let that dog go in and out as much as it needs.
Shit. I don't even know if he really realized what it was honestly. But but I mean, is there a right time? Sure, maybe there would have been a right time. Maybe there wouldn't have because this is my journey. And so everywhere that has gotten me to where I am now is a blessing. And I have to really, I don't know, I guess I just have to take a step back. But this was a good topic this week with not only just the negativity, maybe from outside sources, but even from ourselves.
Yeah,
And yeah, realizing I'm not too old to do whatever I want to do. And, you know, if I'm not exactly happy with where my business is at, well, I have the power to change that. So,
true.
what do I want to do? Do I want to sit here and complain about it? Do I want to sit here and rot on the couch? Or do I want to do something about it and maybe be in a better place next month? I mean,
I
those are
mean,
the options, right?
you
Like,
could learn. I mean, for me, I'm all about learning. I'm all about education. Like I love to know things. And
mhm,
for me, school now in my life right now, this was the best time for me to go
yeah.
because I don't, I struggled with working like 3 part-time jobs while going to school full time
Yeah.
and being a single mom of 2 little girls. And it was very hard because I could never put enough focus on any one thing. I could never just
Mhm.
focus on my kids and take them everywhere. So my parents did a lot. And I could never just focus on school because I also had to, I had to do laundry. I mean, my kids learned very early on how to do their own laundry. How to separate out the clothes at least, like minimum by the time that they're 5 years old. If they know their colors, then they can separate stuff. And we did it that way purposely because I could seriously do a whole load of reds. And when I say a whole, because the girls had like all these reds and pinks. So I had them separate it just
Wow.
because it gave them stuff to do. So it was always
Yeah.
like blues and blacks and dark grays are over here and all reds and pinks, yellows and whites are over here. And the greens kind of go with the blues, depending if it's a light green. So like we worked on that only because it was an activity for them to do that first was functional and it
Mhm.
helped me out. But it was also learning because when they're
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4 years old and they're learning their colors and they're learning how different shades, it worked really well. And then,
Mhm.
they learned how to do dishes and they started off doing the silverware up. They started off doing this. And so my kids at a very early age were taught to be very self sufficient.
Yeah.
I did such a great job that most of the time I have to call them and be like, what are you doing? Like, I haven't heard from you in a couple of weeks. Like, are you okay? I hope everything's okay because they don't need me. But
Yeah.
they always know I'm always there. So it's kind of, it was it's it's easier for me now to be able to focus on me
Mhm.
than it ever was before because in my sobriety and in
Mhm.
growing this business, it takes a lot of time because I mean, I remember my
Yeah.
husband complaining when I first was doing this. He's like, "You've been in there for like 12, 14 hours." I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm going to do it tomorrow." Because I
Yeah.
wasn't working a normal job. I wasn't working anything
Mhm.
anywhere else because during COVID, everything was shut down. So I was playing catch up because I needed to figure out what was working with the business and then what's working now and then what's going to
Mhm.
be like, how are we moving everything to? Because I started in the middle of everything shut down. So I never knew, my journey the last year was I never knew how to run my business in the normal in a normal
Yeah.
economy. And I
Yeah.
say that very loosely, but coming out of COVID that everybody was buying everything online because you couldn't find
Yes.
anything is a lot different from the mentality now because we're out and about. So I say it's never too late. Never too late to learn something. Never too late to, anything that just sets your heart on fire. If you really truly want to be a nurse, then I would say go for it.
I
100%.
know. And
And
it's one of those things that for me I think is more day by day because I already work in the healthcare industry. Like I already work in the emergency room, so I already see everything that goes on. So maybe I'm a little jaded because I'm like, yeah, I would have to go put that Foley in. Does anybody
yeah,
really want to go put a Foley in? Not really.
but it's
Let's be honest.
But if there's a
Um,
calling to be, because
yeah.
from what you currently do to what a nurse does,
Hmm.
it's a different skill set. And if
Yeah.
it's something that is calling you to, help patients or to be there more for them than what your current role is.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, her daughter, she wants to be a teacher. And I looked
Hmm.
at her and I just gave her a hug and I was like, I haven't heard that in so long because, the teachers are so jaded because of everything that's going on in school systems.
Yeah.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
subject. But I just told her, I said, if that's what you truly want, I said, then there's nothing that will stop you. I
Yeah.
was like, if that's, I would love to have that calling of I want to teach kids.
Yeah.
I think my calling is going to be more towards I really kind of thought about becoming a professor at the college.
Ooh, I
That's
love
something
this for
new.
you. I
It's something
love
new.
this.
Because after I get as a bachelor with a bachelor's degree, I can become an adjunct counselor or an adjunct teacher. And so it wouldn't necessarily be it would be more core subjects. So I don't
Uh-huh.
know what kind of like I don't really know all that, but one of my professors brought it up and I really have been thinking about it. And I was like, that could be
Well, and
something.
I think because I think even at Lisa, Missouri, and maybe it's different state by state as we talk about state shit. I don't
Yeah.
know. But like in Missouri anyway, if you have X amount of college credits, then you can actually be a substitute teacher. And so you could still I don't know if that's how it is in Texas or how it works
Yes,
there,
it
but
is.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you only have to have so to be a sub,
Hmm.
there are different levels of subs.
Yeah.
So there is a para, which means that they have no experience
Yes.
and they are with a teacher. So if
Yes.
whatever, they're like
We have
they are
those.
learning to be a teacher. Um
Yes.
and they get paid the least. Then there is a
Yeah.
substitute that is 60 hours of college or less. Then if you have a bachelor's, it doesn't matter what it's in, then you can actually be what they call like a licensed substitute. So that's
Oh,
more money. Yeah. So
okay.
you can have like or I guess
Well,
a certified sub.
uh-huh.
And then at that point, if you have a bachelor's, you could actually go and become a teacher, no matter what it is. I could get a
Oh,
bachelor's in art history or I don't know, one of the fluff ones like liberal arts or something that's
art
just
or
kind of
yeah,
yeah,
something art. Yeah.
something art. Um
Colors.
yeah. But you can become a teacher. You just have
Yeah.
to find but you still have to get a teacher certification.
Hmm.
So I've never wanted to like I love my kids, but I am not one to teach little kids. I never had the patience or
Hmm.
time because even with my kids, I was so busy. I've
Yeah.
always my entire life's been so busy.
Yeah.
It's always been busy. It's
Yeah.
I keep seeing all these things on TikTok and it talks about like if you're one of those people that feel like you never are done with your stuff, did your parents ever tell you that you had to clean the entire house before you could leave the house?
Yeah. See, like, yeah, there's always something else
And I hit
looming.
that and I'm like, why are they talking to me? Why are you? I feel attacked.
I know. I'm like, oh, I have adult ADHD. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Yes, I do. Because I
Yeah.
can't
And
walk
it's,
to the living room without seeing 10 different things and go, wait a minute, I should do that first. No, now I should vacuum. Oh, look at the dust over here. Let me do that.
yeah,
I'm in 18 different directions.
there's time that Blake walks in and he's like, he kind of looks around and I'm like, okay, let me explain. I was doing schoolwork and then I came out here to get some laundry done and to move the laundry over. But when I pulled the stuff out and started folding it, I realized that the floor had something on it. So the cat must have gotten into something or ate something. So I started to sweep. And then after I swept, I was like, well, I've already swept. So now I got to mop because I'm not the cleaner. I am not the cleaner. So I just swept because it was like, oh, I swept. It's clean because the only reason I say I don't mop is because I haven't cleaned yet. I haven't vacuumed.
Hmm.
All tile. So I started mopping, but as I started mopping, I realized that there was some other stuff in the other room. And like so then there'll be like mop water out and there'll be like my
See?
clothes are still on
If you
on
give
the
a mouse a
couch.
cookie, if you give a mom an iced coffee, it's the same story.
It's just
It's the
it's
same
like
story.
and then of course the dryer door is open and the cat's in it, but at least there's no clothes in it, but the
Oh, but
washing stuff.
shit, the cat. Now I got to change the litter box.
Yeah,
Like,
then it's like,
oh, there we
oh,
go.
oh, well, it's trash day. So I went ahead and I went in there. Like it's kind of to me, it's
Yes.
humorous. And my husband's just like, just finish one thing. Like just do
Yeah.
one thing.
Justin's the
Then
same way.
go.
He's like, can't you just sit down? Like, no, there's
Yeah.
12 more things I need to get done.
Well,
Like,
and I used to do everything. So in my past relationships, everything always fell on me because if I needed to get it done, I would never expect anybody else to do it because it was my responsibility. Like if I wanted something cleaned a certain way, then I needed to do it my way. Um,
that's how I
after
feel
having
too. It's the same thing with like the dishes after dinner. And he's like, I'll do the dishes, babe. No, really. It's fine. I'll just let me take care of it because otherwise I'm either gonna redo it later or I'm gonna be pissed about it later. I don't know which one,
right.
but here we
Well,
go. Let me just do it.
and it was one really bad relationship that I couldn't clean correctly. Like it
Mm,
was like they didn't work and
mhm.
they didn't clean, but they would stand over my shoulder and tell me I wasn't cleaning good enough.
Oh,
And so it made me realize that what if it needs to be cleaned, it doesn't matter how or what state it's in, as
uh-huh.
long as it's done, I
Yeah.
don't care. Like I had my kids fold towels and I used to refold them after they were done. They leave the room and I'd refold them and put them away because that was the way they fit. And then I stopped doing that because I was doing double the work and then telling my kids basically is that you weren't good enough. Like I had to redo it, everything.
Yes.
So I don't if my husband folds the towels, that's great. If I go in there and they don't quite all fit, then I just kind of like push them, push them
I,
in.
I'm 46. I am not at that age. I can't. I'm not at that state yet. I would go in and I would refold the damn towels. That's what I would do. That, and I
It's
wouldn't. I wouldn't go up to. It would never be like I go up to just be like, "Oh,
I
I
had to
cannot
redo it.
believe
Like
you did the towels this way. Why did you put
right.
the towels away this way?" No, it's just like I'll wait for him to go to work, and then I'll go over there and I'll refold the shit and put it in the closet, and I'm good. Okay, done.
Well,
But I can't control myself. That's a whole me issue. That's not a him issue. That's a me
that
issue.
I'm not going to say it's a you issue. I'm going to say that's you.
No, that's an ish
Um,
me. That's an
okay.
ish me. It is. It's an ish me totally.
I mean, it's gosh, I mean, I'm gonna pull out some stuff here. It's the perfectionist in you
It
that
is.
sometimes you have to be okay with not being perfect.
I
And
know, and I'm not there yet.
I learned that about I would say it was 10 years ago after being told I could never be perfect that I was finally okay with not being perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
it 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 gives me it really gives me a gross feeling of how I allowed myself to be
Um,
manipulated by someone and told I was never going like you just don't do it good enough. And he goes,
yeah.
Were you not trained?" And I'm like, Who the hell trains people to clean?"
Yeah.
Like I I said I cleaned, but he's like, "But was it good enough?" Like that's the kind
Yeah.
of mentality it was, and it was really hard, and it's been hard in my and that's been a
Well,
hard spot in our
and
marriage
see,
because
there's different journeys, right? So your journey was mine is more of a daddy issue because I was always trying to please how can I be better? How can I get
yeah,
better A's? How can I be in more clubs? How can I play in more sports so dad will be happy? And it always stemmed from that where I mean, so our journeys are completely different, which is why we are the different people we are today.
yeah.
And if we didn't overcome those, and again, am I overcome? No, I'm not healed, but but we're still working towards those
Yeah.
things.
And that's why
And
I'm saying is that it's never too late.
no,
It's never
you're
too late
right.
to learn
Yeah,
something new. It's never too late to change your
yeah.
entire because my life changed
Hmm.
And honestly, Blake's been a huge part of that because he just loves me for me. It's not what I can do or I can clean or I can cook or whatever. Now he does love to be fed. I mean, this man, he's ex-military, and if you've ever met an ex-military man,
Former,
if you
former,
will feed
former
him, you
military.
can keep him for life because they are used to horrible food. So if you learn how to use salt, look, I'm gonna give you guys the Caucasian seasoning: salt, pepper, garlic, and onion salt or powder. Like I promise you, every military man will stay with you forever. Okay, disclaimer: I can't say that that's gonna happen, but I'm just saying if I feed him because that's he loves food, and
Yeah.
so we, you know, I mean we've been married now for 5 years, and we've
Oh.
been together for 7. And I told him being with him for 7 years, um, in 2 more months will be the longest relationship I've ever been in.
Oh, I
And
love
so
it.
I was like, and so you still have those struggles. Like it's not
Yeah.
all flowers and rainbows,
No.
but it's knowing that, you know, there's times that I want to talk about stuff and he's not ready. But I've been thinking about it for weeks, but I have to give him time to get caught up to where like, hey, this is what what's going on in my head. And I have to
Yeah.
remember that he hasn't been thinking about this for 2 weeks like I have. Like and I'm starting to realize giving him grace as much as I give myself grace of like, he's got to catch up to it because if he doesn't know anything's wrong and I don't ever tell him, then how is he supposed to know how to respond?
Right.
Bring it up.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but I mean, I love to cringe out Jacqui because I told her about the whole Halloween. Like I'm not much of a duster, and I even walked down the hallway today where Blake has graciously hung pictures when we first moved in 5 years ago, and I looked at it and I saw dust on these frames,
No.
and I said, "Halloween's right around the corner," and I just kept walking because you know what? I'm not gonna dust them right now. It gives a lot of extra accented detail in our house.
That's detail. That's what that is. That is
Look,
detail.
we have so much so if anybody has all tile floors, they understand and know that dust is everywhere because in carpet, the reason why it's hard to clean carpet fully is because everything settles in the carpet. But when you have tile everywhere, I'm talking, we do
Or
not, I mean,
hardwood. Or
or
hard
hardwood,
because
like
when
anything
we had
that's a hard
hardwood, yeah,
surface,
it was a whole issue.
it's,
Yeah.
it is every day
Hmm.
is dust. Every day there could be something I could be cleaning every day. And for me, do I want to spend majority of my time when I get home on the floor scrubbing and sweeping and mopping and everything else? No. My time, I'm not a how like I don't mind cooking. I enjoy cooking certain things. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy cleaning at all. Like brings me no satisfaction because I know the minute that the cat finds something and knocks her water over and she gets her paws in it and she walks across, like doesn't matter if I just mopped it. I just
Yeah.
mopped the room that her like she now has her own room because Amber moved out. Um Literally
A
I
cat has a
cleaned
room.
up around her
WaxyCat
litter.
should be so proud right now.
Yeah, like I mopped up and everything, and I went in today, and I guess even though I tried keeping her out till it dried, that did not work
Mhm.
because there was pitter patters through there from her litter box. Because then she went into her litter and then got out of her litter, and then she must have went back in and got back out. I don't know, 15, 20 times because then there was caked up litter on the top of her little thing where she was perched, and I'm like, this is why I don't clean all the time. Like I will sweep. I have a new vacuum sweeper
Mhm.
thing. I
Mhm.
love it. I will carry it around the house because my ADD. I walk down the hall and I'm like, "Oop, let me go grab it." And as I'm walking through the house, I will vacuum as I go. It's not anything particular. Like honestly, if it was really deep dirt, you'd probably see streaks of just like this is the way I walked. Then I went to the bathroom, so the bathroom got vacuumed most of it. I'm probably giving like Jacqui huge anxiety right now, but our house is not dirty. Like, don't get me wrong. Like,
Right, right.
my house is very lived in. It's very comfy.
Yeah.
It is just not shiny and spick and
Yeah.
span. It'll
And there's
never
nothing
be.
wrong with that. It
It'll
doesn't have to
never be
be.
shiny, spick and
It
span.
doesn't have to be.
No,
I mean, it does not have to be.
it's loved.
I'm just neurotic.
I know.
That's
I know.
all.
Like, I would love to live with you, and I would be like, I will do everything. Like, I'll fix shit. I will fix shit in a heartbeat. I will find solutions for it. Like, I wouldn't even mind cooking and just you if you wanted to clean, I'd cook. Like, I tell you what. But, it's just
Uh,
one of those things. But,
mm.
again, we I say this, and every time I say that, I always think that someone's gonna think like, "Oh my god, her house must be filthy."
God,
Like, the
no.
dust on the if that's the only place that there's dust,
Right.
that's not the only place that does, but our kitchen doesn't have dust. Like, the counters I wipe counters down all the
Yes.
time. Like, counters are
Right.
wiped down all the time. In my
Yeah.
bathroom, not so much. Like,
Yeah.
I have to wait till I go to grab my brush, and I'm like, I guess I haven't used my brush in a while. I mean, like, I don't have a lot of hair to brush, so I'm like, I need to wipe some stuff down. It's only out of necessity. I clean out of necessity. If someone was coming and I'm okay now that if people come over, I don't care. Like, I used to clean my entire house, my entire apartment
Yeah.
by myself in 5 minutes or 10 minutes if I knew someone was coming over because it needed to be done. So I was like wiping everything off and I was vacuuming really quick and I was getting everything like all the dishes just went into the dishwasher no matter like in there so I could fix it later. And I would stress over it and I'd start wiping down the walls. Like, who's gonna go in my house and be like, there's stuff on your wall. Like you missed a spot. Like, nobody does that. Like, yeah.
No.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is our neurotic, not mine. I just don't do it anymore. I don't care. You don't wanna come to my house, don't come over.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we're in bed
I'm
normal
not gonna
like
get my feelings hurt.
yeah, I mean, Blake's already in bed. Like, we are such early risers and early to bed. We're
Yeah.
normally in like, I normally lay in bed about 6:30 because he goes to
Yeah.
bed at about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then I
Mhm.
lay in there and I schedule my post for the next day, and I
Mhm.
watch my shows, and then I play some games, and I listened to Rain last night.
See, there
I
you go.
did. I did.
See, Justin goes to bed about 7 or 8 o'clock, and he wakes up. I'm still awake because I work nights now, so I am just used to being up all night. And so, yeah, when it's 4 o'clock, I hear his alarm go off, and I'm usually sitting in the living room binge watching something ridiculous or reading my book, and I'll hear his alarm come off. He'll walk out, start the coffee. Good morning, babe. Okay, good morning, babe. I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
He's waking up for the day.
Well, at least you do have that crisscross time on the days that
Yeah.
you're off.
Hmm.
Um, it was hard. Blake was working some nights, for a while, but he was working days and nights. So he'd go into
Hmm.
work at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then he worked for a school district. And so
Yeah.
if they were playing a game that night, soccer or basketball or
Yeah.
volleyball or football, he would be walking the door at 11:30,
Yeah.
and I would, and I worked an 8 to 5 then, and
Yeah.
it was really hard because I literally saw he'd wake me up in the morning and we'd both be getting up and he'd be out the door and I didn't see him for dinner. It was just
Well,
me and the
see, and
girls.
Justin worked nights for years, but I mean, it was overnights and it was like Monday through Friday, right? So we would literally be ships in the night. Like we would pass off Madison. I would go to work and during the day I would get off. He would take, because we only had one car too. He would, he'd have to wait for me to get home and then we would literally change the baby and love you, have a great night. Here you go. He'd leave and I'd be home all night. And then he'd
Yeah.
get up, he'd come home in the morning. So, for years we never had that ability to kind of just always kind of be on the same schedule, and now we're close to it. We're not all the way there, but he's on days, and it makes things a lot easier.
Does.
And yeah, we grow and we change, and I don't know, maybe we do end up getting what we want in the end. I don't
Yeah,
know
I'm
because we
telling you.
work for it.
I'm telling you, I mean, but we do. It's as we grow
We know what we
older,
want.
we know more of what we want. You gotta think
Yeah.
about it. So what like at 18 years old,
Yeah, because that's the thing, I didn't know.
I didn't know what I wanted. I knew, you always saw stuff on TV like, yeah, I want that big house and that nice
Yeah.
car and I want to be able to spend this money, but it's like, okay, but you have to work. So where do these people work? Like
Right.
I think I was probably like 10 years old before I realized that the TV shows were not real. Like, no one had ever said that this is just a show. Like, this is,
Yeah.
these are just actors. You just
Right.
saw, like Wonderful World of Disney. You see
Yeah.
these movies and stuff, and I knew animated was not real. Like, I knew cartoons and
Hmm.
stuff weren't real, but you'd watch all these shows, and I knew that they didn't all look alike. I knew they were acting, but it still was like they're playing a part or whatever. And
Yeah.
I told my kids very early on because I didn't want them to be gullible like I was. And, you know, Scary movies, I didn't care what they watched. I was like, "This is scary, but this is not real." Like,
Mhm.
these are now they have reality shows. Now, I can't
Yeah.
tell you anything about them.
That's scarier.
That is like, I don't
I've been
do
watching The Secret Lives of Mormon or The Secrets of Mormon Wives or Secret
Oh my
Lives.
gosh, I saw that. We may have
The
to do a
whole
whole
thing.
podcast just on the shows we watch. My gosh.
The whole thing.
I am back. Okay, I've been doing a lot of nostalgic series. So,
Oh.
like, stuff that is I think the earliest is like 2000s, like early 2000s. So I'm in Heroes right now. I've been
Oh, that
watching
was a good one.
Bones. Yeah, I've been watching
Oh,
Bones,
good.
and I think I'm like in the 10th or 11th season. I think it goes to 14. I
Mhm.
watched Grey's Anatomy up until like I get to a
Yeah.
certain point because then it just feels like it's the same. Like I get so zoned out. So I
It
don't
is.
watch it all.
Mhm.
But I'm like watching all of these old series, like Grey's
Mhm.
Anatomy. I watched Private Practice. I watched every episode of Private Practice as it was being aired. I never knew, like,
Oh, I never missed a Thursday night Grey's Anatomy night. I never
but see,
missed one.
I was
I
never big
never
into Grey's
missed one.
Anatomy. So when watching Grey's Anatomy gives me a whole different perspective for Private Practice because I never knew that Addison was a bitch. Like, I didn't know that she was horrible and what had happened. Like, I didn't understand who Dr. Dreamy and then I understood Steamy. But like I didn't know because I never watched those. So I'm kind of like I think at this point in my life, I'm like reliving all of that time. I think that's
Yeah.
after I've unpacked all of my drama, my trauma. Like I've been unpacking so much that I think I'm like reliving through my 20s and 30s as a
Mhm.
45-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of going back through and finding those things that I never got to enjoy because
Yeah.
I never watched TV whenever I was working all those jobs. And I worked in a bar and then I'd work a bar at night and then I'd go to school during the day and then I'd have a part-time job after there and then I'd be home and I'd get the kids and then I'd be back there again. I would sleep 2-3 hours at a time and basically they were long naps and
Yeah.
functioning, and I'm not even a coffee drinker. I was a Dr. Pepper drinker. Like, I would go through a six-pack of Dr. Peppers just trying to wake myself up to get me moving.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's like and I just look back now and, like,
Yeah.
I wish I could tell my 18-year-old self it's all gonna be okay.
God.
Like, it's all gonna work out, but you gotta go through the hell to get through to the good side. Like,
You
it's gonna be
do.
bad, but it's nothing you can't survive. Like,
Yeah.
think think that would be my advice to my younger self.
Yeah.
I
I
think
agree
that's
with that.
I think that's why people later on in life, because they don't have the little kids, they don't have the
Mhm.
restraints of just trying to, we're not being paid like minimum wage either.
Mhm. Yeah.
You got to think about it is that we're not making, I mean, when my first minimum wage job, it was 4.15 an hour.
Oh God, I was a waitress, so it was 213 an hour.
Wow.
Okay. Plus
Well,
tips.
I think it's
Mhm.
still 213 now. I think
Yeah,
I
that was my starting
213 or
salary.
250, yeah. It's just amazing to think of, like, what we're
Mhm.
just in a different mindset because now I don't have bosses that walk all over me.
Right.
Like, I would never, ever go back into a toxic work environment
Mm.
because I would never not be able to say something because I know that they don't have control over me. Like, I could find
Right.
another job. I could go somewhere else. I could do something else.
Mhm.
And I had so many different jobs, and especially being a really cute 16-year-old, I would never, ever allow management to take advantage not, like, take advantage of time. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of things I was doing at McDonald's for the management of, like, I was doing birthday parties, I was doing all these things. I never got paid more,
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
in the year and a half I worked there. I think my biggest raise was 10 cents,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but I wasn't a shift lead.
Yeah.
But I did everything else. I mean, like, it was just kinda one of those things, so I think you know, it's just
Yeah.
I think
It
that's just
builds
later on
character.
in life, you just have a different
Yeah,
appreciation, right?
you do. You definitely do.
You know what's worth
You know what? Yeah, you know what's worth it, what's not worth it. You know what you want, you know what you don't want. And yeah, I mean,
and you can voice it more.
that's a grace.
I think as
Yeah.
women, after we hit about 35, 40, it's like you start realizing that you have a voice and your
Mhm.
voice is important.
Yeah.
You can make those choices.
Yeah.
So, well, we we have
Well,
talked
this
about.
therapy session is
I
sponsored
know, like
by.
this after hours has was really an after hours therapy session. So please make sure you write your checks out too. We'll create a
We're here
PO
for
box.
you. Don't
Um,
worry.
yeah. So uh, after hours, we never know what's going to happen after hours.
No, it's always
So,
fun.
but it is. So we're gonna go ahead and close this out, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, again, so I will reiterate if you haven't been watching the Who Knows Best, we finished our podcast earlier of negativity and complaining. We kind of did our after hours. We touched on it a little bit, but it's these are how our conversations go. So you just have to embrace it. If you are wanting to get on our podcast, please let one of us know. You can either message us or you can comment on one of the podcasts if you're watching this or listening to this. Let us know that you're interested, and we will start compiling a list and we will start getting people scheduled in. You have a topic you want to hear, let us know. So we're going to end this out tonight, guys. I am Cassie Bollinger,
I am Jacqui Duran.
and this is Who Knows Best. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.